Info, the correct time. It's 6 o'clock.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this evening, train transport from Port Harcourt to Aba yet to resume amid sit-at-home protest. High cost of goods generates concern in Port Harcourt. APC members list conditions to accept Femi Fani-Kayode into party. Acceptance rate of COVID-19 vaccination program in Rivers State rises. And on the foreign scene, gunman attack university in Russia. I am Carl Orakwue with the news. A train transport from Port Harcourt to Aba could not resume today as scheduled due to a Monday sit-at-home being observed in Aba, Abia State. As you may know, train transport in Port Harcourt was expected to resume this week after it was out of service last week due to a train which derailed its track in a suspected train track vandalism situation. Our correspondents who visited the train station in Port Harcourt gathered that travellers were told that services have been put on hold despite the presence of workers at the station. The Monday sit-at-homes by proscribed group IPOP recorded high compliance in Aba, Abia State capital as businesses were shut down in Abarada as businesses were shut down in the city, although IPOP has since suspended the order. People have continued to observe it, probably out of fear. Meanwhile, some traders in Mile 3 and Mile 1 markets in Port Harcourt have expressed their concern over the high cost of goods. Some of the traders tell our correspondent how the situation affects them.
This tomato, the tomato don't cost. As we've been buying before, 4,000, 5,000 for baskets. Now they buy them 12,000, 11,000. Minor motor they pay. And when we buy like that to come sell, when we sell for custard, it's as if we are cheating the masses. Meanwhile, you bought it so expensive. Your money will not even come and not to talk of gain.
Flour now, before we've been buying 14,500 for bag, but now flour now is 19,700. They affect the business because of say we lose our customers and.
For some traders at the fruit garden market, they say the absence of power supply in the market affects their frozen foods and other goods.
The only problem we have this market for now is NEPA light. Since this market don't open, that's a year plus now, we never get NEPA light. Government don't give us market, give us light. No give us money. Give money to connect them. But they don't connect them for us. Just because when you don't get light 24 hours, you need to buy diesel or fuel. And fuel not that cheap. Then all these things now will add to cost of products and they increase the price. If they fit come, at least give us a NEPA light. Make it day on. Then we will know that our fuel, but they conserve. We will reduce our own price. So I will sell.
Away from that, Ipman's Chinedu Okonkwo, who insists he's the legitimate national president of the association, says the reported police invasion of Ipman's office in Rivers State was to implement a Supreme Court judgment. Mr. Okonkwo said this in an interview with correspondent Choma Izinwafo after Dr. Joseph Obele, who says he is the chairman of Ipman in the state, raised alarm that police officers have again taken over their Eleme office.
It is only areas like Port Harcourt, Enugu, Makurdi, and this and eastern part, they refuse to, adhere to Supreme Court ruling. That is the position. What we have done here is to ensure that the Supreme Court is enforced. Like in other places, there is peace, there is no rancor, no, disobedience of court order, So that is what we have done here in Port Harcourt.
While urging Ipman members to work together as the leadership tussle comes to an end, Mr. Okonkwo said Sanusi Fari, who is also laying claim to the Ipman national leadership position, was never a party to the suit.
He's never a party either as a plaintiff or a defendant in the matter. And even give him all manner of name, impostor, a lot of names in the judgment. So, Chameleon, that is one stoking the embers of crisis. So where are you claiming from? The trial court, in his ruling, said all his activities are in knowledge. And that is what, from there we got into Supreme Court, and Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the lower court.
Civil society organizations in Nigeria say it will soon approach the court over recently signed Petroleum Industrial Act. Speaking on the host community's trust clause in the Petroleum Industrial Act, Executive Director of We the People, Ken Henshaw, said CSOs will soon explore the option of consulting with communities whose livelihood have been devastated by 6 decades of crude oil extraction. Our correspondent Subi Ruwari reports that Mr. Henshaw also said civil society organizations are pained and the National Assembly still went ahead to retain the clause that places the responsibilities of protecting pipeline to the host communities in the Niger Delta region. Our APC Progressive Governors Forum has listed conditions former Minister of Aviation Femi Fani-Kayode must meet to be fully accepted and integrated into the party. The Director General of the Forum, Dr. Saliu Mo Lukman, in a statement said Fani-Kayode will need to register from his ward, identify with the party chieftains in his state, and more importantly, demonstrate tolerance and respect for opinions of leaders and members of the party if he's to be fully accepted into the party. He also said party members are angry with the red carpet reception President Buhari gave Fani-Kayode when he decamped from the PDP to APC last week. A PDP chieftain, Kasima Fegwa, says the PDP zoning pattern could see the presidential ticket zoned to the north since the party's national leadership was zoned to the south. In a television interview, Afegwa said the party will study the demography in deciding which zone gets its presidential ticket.
By the time the politics of 2028 comes to the round table, we are going to be using a lot of demographics to consider this issue of gender and all of that. But I'm just telling you that as a party, I'm following the pattern of what has been happening in the party from 1998 to now in terms of chairmanship, from Chief leadership to Somola to Bilafo, Kosinido Oyedo, Ahmadu Ali, Adamu Muazu, Shenkafi, and all of that up to which is secondaries. You know, once there's a chairmanship from the south, it's almost like natural giving way that the presidency will come from. Now,
the call for the Southeast to produce the president of the country in the 2023 general election have continued to generate comments. This is following the meeting of the South-South governors who called for zoning of the presidency to the Southeast. The PDP Vice Chairman, Rivers West Senatorial District, Robinson L., spoke to our correspondent on this.
It is not in the constitution that presidency should rotate. It is a gentleman agreement. And you know, because we are Nigerian politicians that can hardly be trusted, it is even difficult to keep to it. But as a group, as a governor leading the South-South, they have that right to say, let the presidency be zoned to the South. But it is up to the party now, power play within the party. Because before you think of the presidency, you must factor in all the regions. Several factors must be taken into consideration. So whether the PDP or APC is going to be committed in doing so, because it is not a constitutional matter, you cannot hold anybody responsible, accountable for that.
Still ahead of the news this evening, acceptance rates of COVID-19 vaccination program in Rivers State rises. Do stay tuned.
Democracy is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Nigeria Info opens the mic. This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. The head of Department Community Medicine UPTH, Orakwue Adeniji, says people are more receptive towards the COVID-19 vaccination program. She said this in an interview with correspondent Martha Okere.
They are happy to take the vaccine. Nobody's compelling them. They're coming directly and requesting. And because the second dose is not due, we have people coming in to ask us when they will be vaccinated. But since we are expecting our batch, I've spoken to the state immunization officer. He assured me they would bring this Moderna for the second dose. People that have taken the first dose, the second dose today. And then tomorrow morning, we start vaccinating.
Mrs. Adeniji listed manpower as one of the challenges being faced by the vaccination team.
We've pulled more resources towards the clinic to help us mainly with data entry. But we are solving it. We are balancing out one way or the other. We've been able to clear our backlog, so people are collecting their cards and the vaccination process is going smoothly. All the people demanding the use of the facility, their needs are met. So I don't think we can say the strike is affecting us in any way.
She also clarified about vaccine doses.
Moderna is given 2 doses 4 weeks apart. Johnson & Johnson is the one that is a single dose. And then AstraZeneca is given, there's a range from 6 weeks to 3 months apart. For AstraZeneca, 2 doses too. That is what we're doing now.
A visit to some COVID-19 vaccination centers by our correspondent showed that health workers are only given doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine after the Moderna vaccines for first dose vaccination got exhausted. A second dose of the Moderna vaccine is expected to arrive River State soon. The Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, MD-CAN, has again extended the ultimatum given to the federal government to resolve their demands by another 6 weeks. Chairman MD-CAN at UPTH told our correspondent Martha Okere that the consultants do not want to further cripple the health sector following the ongoing strike by medical doctors.
We ask the members of the National ESCO to continue to liaise and deliberate with officers of the Ministry of Health, the head of service, as well as education. We have also tried to see how we can continue to offer service, however skeletal they may be, so that there will not be complete breakdown. We know that all life is sacred, but we shouldn't lose our own lives while caring for others. We support members of the Association of Resident Doctors. And when the time comes, if this is not fully resolved, well, we'll be in the same camp with them.
Recall that MD-CAN on July 26 issued a 21-day ultimatum to the federal government over salary scales. In business, an economist, Adolf Cookie, has advised the federal government to invest loans into projects that are economically viable to grow the nation's economy. Professor Cookie gave the advice while speaking on the new $4 billion loan request by President Muhammadu Buhari.
From the details he gave to the National Assembly, he mentioned some projects. But again, my worry is the Nigerian system of funding projects. The corruption that takes almost 50% of the fund out of the project to personal pockets. There are 2 things involved. Did you put it in projects that will boost the economy, that will encourage entrepreneurs, that will lead to economic development in the future? If you do that, no problem. The projects will pay for the loans.
Professor Cookie also spoke on the e-Naira, a digital currency proposed by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
We are dealing with money we don't touch physically. I don't know whether we are developed enough to get to that level. Whether the level of development, the level of technology, and the control system will be able to carry that. I don't know. Let's see how it's going to do it. Since we have said it's going to do Economic Advancement Council at the time, that is okay. Let's see what happens.
In entertainment, Netflix royal drama The Crown and Apple TV comedy Ted Lasso were the big winners at Sunday's Emmy Awards. The Crown's prizes included Best Drama Series and 4 acting wins for Gillian Anderson, Olivia Colman, Josh O'Connor and Tobias Menzies. In sports, Manny Pacquiao has confirmed his retirement from boxing as he bids to become the new president of the Philippines in 2022. Last Sunday, a former 8-weight world champion who's already a senator in his homeland announced his intention to run for the presidency.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
At least 8 people have been killed after a gunman attacked a Russian university this morning. Shots were heard at Perm State University in Russia's Ural Mountains, where 8 were killed and more than 10 were wounded. The attacker, dressed in black, was seen walking into the building holding a clearly visible firearm, with reports later saying the shooter had been killed by police. And that does it here on the news this evening. But before we go, here's a quick look at the major stories. Earlier on, we told you train transport from Port Harcourt to Aba could not resume today due to the sit-at-home situation in Aba. The high cost of goods in Port Harcourt is generating concerns. APC members have listed conditions to accept Femi Fani-Kayode back into the party. The acceptance rate of COVID-19 vaccination program in River State is set to have increased. From the foreign scene, we told you gunmen have attacked a university in Russia. The news was edited by Choma Ezenwafo. For more stories, to visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. You could, however, call our phone line 0818-900-0017 for eyewitness news and breaking news stories. Light showers in Port Harcourt this evening. I'm Carl Orakwue. Good evening.